Welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get That Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Big Boofy Skirman and Mr. Tony T-Bone Guarino. It's week 15, gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good here, man. They are saying that we have a potential winter storm coming through the neighborhood probably tonight, but it's going to take more than that to keep me from making a bunch of units this week.
I hear that, man. I'm not looking forward to that workout tomorrow, shoveling the driveway. How about you, Tone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for this big storm as well. Maybe a giant storm of units this week.
Yeah, that's the storm.
That's the storm we all want.
Yeah.
Speaking of storms, what a wildly entertaining Monday night game last night. I mean, I can't even formulate my thoughts on Week 14 because I'm still sitting here just in awe over the Browns having one of the most brown finishes of all, with Lamar Jackson leaving the game to make brown and then coming back to drop the brown bomb on Cleveland for them ultimately to lose the game. I mean, that's just poetry in motion, baby.
That's a lot of poo. Speaking of things that aren't poo, however, how'd those locks do last week, Boof?
If you'd asked me this at like 3 o'clock on Sunday, man, I'd have been like, we're going to have a new record of amazingness. Instead, we had to settle for a pedestrian, by our standards at least, 8-6. The losers were the Bears and Texans going over 44.5, Chiefs -7, Falcons -2.5, Saints -7, Steelers and Bills over 46.5. And we conditionally live locked the Steelers at +3, which I wish we didn't do because that also was a loser. Winners were Cardinals -2.5, Cowboys -3.5, Bucks -6.5, Colts -2.5, Seahawks -13.5, Seahawks -7 at halftime, Washington +4, and the Ravens -0.5 point, which I was very proud of that one, as I know the line made it all the way up to -3.5 by the time they kicked off.
That means you're a good bettor.
Amen, baby.
CLV, baby.
And also worth noting, we had the Packers -7 conditionally, and I am glad we went the conditional route with that one because that would have been a push. And obviously, if we had taken the worst line, that would have been a loss. So nice job sticking to our guns and getting the line that we wanted. Props did pretty well. They were 36-29. So as far as our totals on the year, locks are 66, 52, and 2 with a 55.93 success rate. And the props are 111 and 81 with a 57.8% success rate.
That's winning units right there, baby.
I like making money.
I mean, green is green.
All right. Well, we got an exciting week 15 this week because we get a little bit of Saturday action. But before we look at that, we need to start on Thursday with the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders laying 3.5, and your over-under at 53.
Chargers getting over a field goal against a Raiders team has been trending downwards. And as we've been saying for a little while here now, when you're taking the Chargers, you want to be getting points. They're getting over a field goal. Their offense is looking pretty good. The Raiders' secondary is not that great. The Raiders' defense is not that great. And like I said, the Raiders have been trending downward. So give me over a field goal with the LA Chargers and keep an eye out for a couple props that we always like to post for this game. I like over a touchdown and a half for Mr. Herbert. And if his passing yards are even in the 270 or 280 range, which they will likely be, we're probably going to take the over on that as well. So keep an eye out for those, as well as Nelson Aguilar in the low 40s and his receptions over 3.5 are definitely props that have been out there that we've been liking a lot. So just wanted to also throw those in there real quick. What do you think, Boof?
I also like the Chargers +3.5. The first game was a Raiders 31-26 victory. I know what you're thinking. You're like, bro, that is a difference of 5. Chargers would not have covered that. Here's the thing. If you go back and really dive into the details of how that one ended, the Chargers actually completed a pass in the end zone at the end of regulation that was called complete, and it was a touchdown on the field. It was later obviously reviewed and overturned, so they were that close to winning the game outright, let alone covering a plus 3.5. Beyond that, they did not have Austin Eckler available for that game. He is obviously playing nowadays. The other pick that I really like for this one is the over 53 points. The Raiders, as Nate said, have been trending down. Their last 3 games, if it weren't for a lucky one, they would have been 0-3, and one of those including the Jets. But they are 1-2, and when they're not playing the Jets, they are giving up at least 40 points. And even against the Jets, they gave up 28. So I think we can easily hit the over 40 or over 53 here. And again, to go back to the first meeting, they had that number covered with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter the first time. And again, they had a touchdown taken away from them at the end. So I think we comfortably cover the over 53 here. And we have a double lock with the over and the Chargers plus 3.5 to kick it off on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah. Lock him in. Get that money. Twice on a Thursday, baby.
All right, and as I said, we're going to move into Saturday now. And we'll start with the 4:30 game, which is the Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos. Bills laying 6.5, and you're over-under at 50.
Definitely like what I'm seeing from the Bills here. They are trending in the right direction as we get closer to the playoffs. They have a 99% chance to win their division for the first time in 25 years. I love what I'm seeing from their quarterback, from Stephon Diggs. That defense is getting healthier, looking better. Their weakness was stopping the run. They seem to be shoring that up a little bit. We're getting under a touchdown at the Broncos. I don't trust Drew Lock unless it's garbage time. And maybe he's the new Phillip Rivers. Maybe aspiration to be garbage time hero. But anyway, Bills minus 6.5. That's really good. I like it. I'll lay that all day. I'll circle the wagons with my boy here.
Nate, I've been circling the wagons for almost 2 years now. You give me a line like this against a Denver team that isn't very good, and the Bills, like you said, seem to have found their mojo lately. They are peaking at the right time. I look for them to continue to trend towards finishing the season strong and cover the touchdown against the Broncos. Lock number 3 for us this week.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
The blizzard seems like it's coming. Let's go to the Saturday night game, which is the Carolina Panthers at the Green Bay Packers. Packers laying 8.5, and you're over-under at 51.
I have no doubt that the Packers are going to win this game, so we're going to start there. But good old cover Teddy Bridgewater here, or Teddy Covers, TB5, whatever you want to call him. He keeps it close enough. He normally covers the number. The number is 8.5 or 9, depending on where you're getting it at. I don't like that. We correctly avoided a loss last week by not taking the hook with Green Bay against the Lions. So now you're facing a team that is known to have a quarterback that just covers the number. So I'm gonna avoid that. But Panthers are a pretty competent offense. Green Bay, as you know, Aaron Rodgers having a fantastic year. Devontae Adams having a fantastic year. Aaron Jones getting the job done. So they score points. Panthers don't have a great defense. 51 is a pretty nice number here as far as the over for me. So I'm going to roll with that and feel really good about it.
So I actually tried to talk Nate into taking the Panthers at the +9 number that he said that was available. They have covered the number of +9 in every game but 2 this year. And those 2 were both against the Buccaneers. So versus everybody but the Bucs, they have covered that. So I personally am comfortable with the points, and I would place that bet. I am on board with Nate with the over 51 points. Panthers totals have gone over that in 4 out of the last 5 games. Packers in 3 out of the last 4. I think in general you have offenses that can score here and defenses that are average. So in general, that leads to an over kind of game, and the data backs it up here, especially recently. So I do feel comfortable with that. I know DJ Moore's situation is still a little uncertain with COVID as far as whether he'll be able to play or not. And the fact that it is a Saturday game does hold us back a little bit there. But Panthers still covered that anyway without him last week. And I am still comfortable taking the over. And it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, so that now brings us to Sunday, where we will kick things off with the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings laying 3.5, and your over-under at 47.
Boof did some very good data mining here on this one, so why don't you hit me? Why don't you hit everybody with that, Boof?
Okay, so typically, I don't put a whole lot of stock into the history between two teams. This does happen to be a divisional opponent, so they play each other twice a year. And the quarterback and head coach has been the same for all of them. So I think I think that gives it a little bit more merit. And there's some other players involved too that have been around for all this. So I think you can give it a little bit more merit than you typically would. The last 7 meetings between these teams have all gone under the total of 47. So I absolutely love the under here. And beyond that, I like the Bears with the points. They lost the first meeting against the Vikings this year, 19-13. Nick Foles started that game. Trubisky is starting this one, and Trubisky is actually undefeated as the starter against the Vikings. So he's 4-0. He got injured in one of them early, so you can kind of give that one to Chase Daniel. But technically, he did start that game. And he did also start and finish the other 3, won all of them. If you are giving me 3.5 points with a guy that is undefeated against a particular opponent, I am a big fan of that. So I personally like the Bears plus 3.5 and the under 47 in this game.
I definitely agree with the under in this game. Love the data that we saw there when we were mining through everything. We had a similar precedent of going this route before. I actually brought up to Booth when we were talking about this pre-show. And it was a similar situation with the Steelers and Ravens. And it's one of those things where obviously the head coaches have been the same for a long time, division opponent, a lot of the personnel and schemes being the same. And it was another total in the high 40s. And we're like, it's always under in Baltimore. And that was something we hit on a couple years ago. Similar precedent here. All the data backs it up. So I love under 47. However, one thing I do disagree with you on, Booth, is you can tell me that Mitch Trubisky is 400-0 against somebody. I don't care because I still think he sucks. And if I think he's going to lose, I'm going to pick against him. And I think he's going to lose, so I'm going to pick against him. So I'm going to pizza box that one with you if you got the intestinal fortitude to back that one up.
So you're trying to tell me in a game where we agree and we want to lock in under, you want to go pizza box on the spread?
I do, because when Mitch Trubisky sucks, that's only going to help our under bet even more.
Well, bring it on, baby. I'm down. Let's pizza box it. Bears plus 3.5.
Pizza box! And let's lock that under, baby. Get that money.
Yep, definitely a blizzard. All right, let's move on to the Detroit Lions at the Tennessee Titans. Titans laying 10.5, and wasn't able to lock down the total there, unless one of you two grabbed something that I missed.
No, I couldn't find a total either.
Okay, well, no total then.
Yeah, it's most likely due to the uncertain injury status of Matt Stafford. He has some rib cartilage damage, is the last I heard there. My lean here would be Titans laying 10.5. Because honestly, an injured Matt Stafford or a healthy Chase Daniel, there wouldn't be much of a difference there. And I do like the Titans to get the job done, and we're laying 10.5. So that'd be my lean. But the Lions, you never know what Lions offense you're going to get in a given day and what Titans defense you're going to get in a given day. So that's why we're just a lean for the Titans.
Yeah, same thing. At the end of the day, just too many points. I mean, I just saw the Lions hang within 7 of the Packers. So it's a pass for me.
Okay, well then we can move on to the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts laying 7 and the over-under at 51.
I think the Texans beat down at the hands of the Bears last week by the tune of 36-7. Says everything you need to know about where they are the rest of this season. Colts, definitely a better team than the Bears. At least a defense on par, if not better than the Bears. And definitely a better offense than the Bears. We're laying only a touchdown here against the Texans team that has seemingly mailed it in for the rest of the season. Give me the Colts. Lay the points.
Yeah, I also like the Colts, and this line has gone up from yesterday. And on some sites, it's even over a touchdown. So I would grab it while you can. I love the Colts -7. The Texans have a disgruntled J.J. Watt. He's talking about how the team can't get any sort of a pass rush. And as we know, if you can't get after Phillip Rivers, he's still carving people up. So Colts look awesome. Texans don't. I'm laying the 7. It's a lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
Up next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens laying 13.5 and the over-under at 47.5.
Jacksonville on a 12-game losing streak after their opening win of the season. They got scrubbed last week. They're having a quarterback carousel, basically just having tryouts to who they want to be the backup to Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields next year. So they don't really care about winning the game. They're just looking at evaluating personnel. Ravens, big-time win last night against the Cleveland Brownies to keep their blossoming playoff hopes alive. Ravens need to win out to comfortably get into the playoffs. I expect nothing less than a full effort here by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. We're getting under 2 touchdowns at home against one of the worst teams in the league and worst defenses in the league. This is a no-brainer. I'll lay the points with the Ravens.
Yeah, I think we see a 2019-esque Ravens beatdown here for all the reasons I just said. Jags stink. Lamar Jackson looks very rejuvenated after his little time off from the COVID scare. And I expect the Ravens to whoop them. So I'm laying the points, and it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, next we have the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins laying 2.5 and the over-under at 41.5.
If the Dolphins had all their personnel offensively, I'd love laying under a field goal with the Dolphins here. But it's probably under a field goal because the Dolphins don't have their offensive personnel. So we're going to stay away from that just because it's the freaking Patriots, man. And sometimes they have the ability. They'll look decent one game and crappy the next. So we will stay away from the spread, although the Dolphins laying under a field goal will be my lean. When they played earlier this year, when the Dolphins were healthy, alas, it was with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. It was, I believe, 21-11 Patriots. That is comfortably under. Now you have injuries on both sides. The Dolphins really need this game, so you're definitely going to get a full effort from them. The Patriots also really need this game to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. So you're still going to get a full effort out of them, I believe. 41.5, definitely a low number, but injuries and history this season says it's still a good number for me. So I'm going to go under 41.5.
Yeah, we see this one pretty much the exact same way. Like I want to take the Dolphins, but I'm just afraid of it too much to actually lock it. As far as the under goes, I mean, the Dolphins games have gone under that total in 3 of the last 4. The one that did not was against the Chiefs. And if you kind of go through the Dolphins' entire schedule, when they play the teams that are not, particularly wonderful on offense, it goes under that total. And that does include the first game against the Patriots as well, like you said. That went 21-11. So we're taking the under, and it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, moving on, we'll look at the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers laying 3 and the over-under at 45.5.
So we're getting a Niners team only laying 3 points against the Cowboys team, who's one of the worst in the league. Nick Mullins has done a fairly decent job since he's been at the helm for Garoppolo. Most games, even against decent to good teams, they still put up points and are fairly competitive. The Cowboys, honestly, if the Cowboys don't score a couple defensive touchdowns against the Bengals, that might be a really close game. And that was with Brandon Allen at quarterback, who struggles to hit 150 yards passing. He went over 200 against the Cowboys. That's scary. That's really, really scary. I have no desire to take the Cowboys here. I feel pretty good about laying only 3 with the Niners, so that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, don't let last week against the Bengals scare you away from the Cowboys stinking. They are particularly bad where you don't want to be when you're playing the 49ers.
Everywhere.
To be more specific, against the run. And San Francisco is missing Deebo Samuel, so that's really my only reason for concern here. But it's probably the reason why we get the line at -3. I don't think we're going to miss him enough to scare me off of the pick. I think the Niners rush for over 250, and Nick Mullins gets a little play action going against them, and we cover the -3 comfortably. Give me the Niners. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Washington football team. Seahawks laying 6, and the over-under at 44.5.
Big things to consider here. You might have Dwayne Haskins at quarterback, depending on what's going on with Alex Smith's calf injury. Still no Antonio Gibson, which is a big loss for them offensively, and for our weekly prop bets, because he's been a nice cash cow for us there on his overs. And last week against the Niners, they did not score an offensive touchdown. Last time I checked, normally you need at least one of those if you even want to have a slight chance to win a football game. And they're going to be facing a Seattle team that has shown improvement the last few games defensively and has obviously Russell Wilson at quarterback and a very dangerous offense on any given week. We are laying not only under a touchdown, but we are laying 5.5 here with Seattle. And again, Washington, you just don't know where the points are going to come from offensively for them. So, I mean, shoot, Seattle could win 10-3 and we cover this. So I'll gladly lay the points with Seattle. And that's where I'm going to go.
I think Washington is like the perfect matchup for Seattle. They have a good front that can get pressure, and they're pretty solid against the run. So they're going to force Seattle to pass, and they're going to get pressure. So Russ is going to have to extend the play, but I don't think they're good enough to get him on the ground. And their secondary is mediocre. So you're talking about Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf running around against a mediocre secondary on extended plays. I see Russ doing a lot of cooking in this one, and I expect Seattle to put up a lot of points. Conversely, like Nate said, Washington struggled to score last week. It seems like they do miss Antonio Gibson. Even if Alex Smith does come back, he's got a calf injury on his right leg, which was the leg that gave him the big scare a couple years ago. And their plan is just to let him rest all week. So he's not going to practice, and then they're hoping that he will come back in. But even if so, he only had 57 yards passing, and I believe he was like 7 of 19 last week. So he wasn't playing well before the injury last week. I expect Seattle to cover this one, no problem. Give me the Hawks. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
Or hawk it in. All right, the final 1 o'clock game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Bucks laying 5.5, and the over-under at 50.5.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay laying under a touchdown here. They took care of business this past weekend against the Vikes. I honestly put Atlanta in the same tier as the Vikings. On top of that, the Falcons are worse running the ball because generally you're going to be if you don't have Dalvin Cook. And unfortunately, Father Time has definitely caught up with Mr. Gurley, so I don't think he's going to be much of a threat there. Tampa Bay really needs this game to continue to solidify their playoff positioning. Short travel for them here, under a touchdown. In the dome, Tom Brady, perfect conditions with all those weapons he has. So, yeah, I'll lay the 5.5 with Tampa Bay.
I got to be honest. I don't think I have anything to add to that. I'm also down to lay the points with Tampa Bay and for everything Nate just said.
Oh, yeah. Lock it in. Get that money.
All right, well, that takes us into the late afternoon games on Sunday, where we will start things off with the New York Jets at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams laying 16.5 and the over-under at 43.5.
I know Boof will expand upon this a little bit more here in a second here, so I won't double up the information. But not only did the Jets lose every game, as they obviously have so far, but when they play good teams, they lose really badly and they don't score points. So we're laying 16.5 here with the Rams. I will gladly scoop that up. And I also expect the Jets to hardly score at all. So if Boof is down with both of those, which I'm pretty confident he's going to be, I would take both of those. And Boof, why don't you share some more information with the people here?
Okay, well, I believe you're referring to the Jets under 13.5. So we went back and did a little research on this one. So the Jets have played against a top 10 ranked defense 4 times. It was the 49ers in week 2, where the Jets only scored 13. Then we played the Colts. Jets only scored 7. We played the Dolphins. Jets get shut out. And we play the Dolphins again. Jets only score 3. Now, beyond that, the Rams are also a team that seems like they're finding their mojo a little bit. Cam Akers is looking like a young Todd Gurley, running all over the place on everybody. And we've kind of seen what the Rams can be in the past when they have a dominant running game. So I don't know if this will necessarily be a test to gauge where the Rams are as a true Super Bowl contender or not, because it's the Jets. But it's the Jets. I do expect them to run the ball great. And when they do that, they get their play action going. They score a lot of points. I already explained to you why I expect their defense to hold them to a low number. I think we can cover 16.5 as well. And it's a double lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Twice. Jets suck.
All right, up next then we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals laying 6.5 and the over-under at 49.5.
The lean here for me would be Arizona minus 6.5, but that's a little bit too big of a number. I will give Philly a little bit of respect after that Saints victory, but I definitely don't have enough faith in them to take the points with the Eagles. So going to stay away from the spread. If Kyler Murray was the first half of the season, Kyler Murray, I'd be all over Arizona here. But until he shows me that he is, I'm going to stay away from a number that big. And then the total, 49.5, that actually intrigues me some. I like the under here because, as I've said, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense just hasn't been clicking on all cylinders here after that injury in the Seattle game. And then Philly, as most Philly fans I'm sure know, haven't been that great all season, especially on offense. Even with the Jalen Hurts-led offense last week against the Saints, they still only put up 24 points. 24-21 is under the total. Arizona has actually gone under in 3 of their last 4 games, and Philly has also gone under, I believe, in their last 7 on that total as well. So a lot of data pointing to take the under here, and I'm going to listen to it and roll with that. Give me under 49.5.
Yeah, Philly has actually gone under that 10 times this year. And like you said, the Cardinals, 3 of the last 4, pretty much since the Seattle game, where Kyler Murray hurt his shoulder. And I think it's a combination of 2 things. I think it's the shoulder, so he isn't necessarily as willing to run, and they aren't calling as many runs for him. And I think teams are just putting a bigger emphasis on making sure he doesn't get loose and making sure that he has to throw the ball from the pocket to beat them. That has proven to be successful so far. I don't see any reason why the Eagles would not employ that strategy. So I am also down with the under, and it's another lock for us.
Lock it in. Get that money.
Okay, so the final late afternoon game on Sunday is the Kansas City Chiefs at the New Orleans Saints. Chiefs laying 3, and the over-under at 51.5.
Come on now. We're getting the Chiefs at a field goal. And if you blindly took the Chiefs laying 3 points the entire year, you will have only lost 2 times. That's it. I like making money. The Chiefs make me money. So I'm definitely going to roll with that. I think another motivational point here for the Chiefs is a lot of people are going to be pointing to this game as a potential Super Bowl preview, which it very well could be. It very well could be. A lot of that depends on Drew Brees' health. But I think the Chiefs take this as an opportunity to put the NFC on notice and just honestly just put a beat down on them. Because without Drew Brees at quarterback, I don't think Taysom Hill is going to be able to handle a shootout with Patrick Mahomes. Can't do it. So I think the Chiefs definitely look to send a message here, and you're giving me a field goal with the future season MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Easy money.
Now, one of our loyal listeners happened to send us a message, and he informed us that the all Chiefs-related bets have actually lost 4 out of 5. Well, Zook, buddy, I don't care. We're taking the Chiefs -3 anyway. The Saints are still rolling with the backup quarterback. I like Taysom Hill. It's admirable what he's done. But you're getting in a game with a team that is going to be motivated, and I just don't see the Saints being able to keep up with them. It's only a field goal, and it's going to be a lock for us.
Yeah, clearly. Lock it in. Get that money. Chiefs.
All right, that takes us to the Sunday night game, which is the Cleveland Browns at the New York Giants. Browns laying 3.5, and the over-under at 45.5.
I actually feel pretty good about picking the Browns to win this game. The Giants just don't scare me offensively, and with Daniel Jones still being banged up and not able to run, they lose another dimension from an offense that is already shaky at times. So whether it's banged up Daniel Jones or Colt McCoy, neither of those two guys scare me. By the way, under prop for Daniel Jones rushing yards. Definitely hammer that again this week because he has a bad hammy and he ain't running. That was profitable last week as well. But as far as the Browns go, 3.5. Boof and I were talking pre-show that most of the Browns wins, I think it was half of them actually, were around a field goal. So I don't feel like laying 3.5, but I would conditionally lay 3 if we can get that. As far as the total goes, the Giants have a solid run defense. Browns, obviously, that's a big part of their offense. As I just outlined, the Giants don't really scare me offensively. 45.5 is a total I can get down with as far as the under goes. So, yeah, I just think the Giants defense does enough and their offense doesn't do enough that we can hit the under there. So that's my best. That is my best bet for this game.
I personally am comfortable laying the 3.5 with Cleveland as is. So I'm definitely down with the conditional -3 if we get it. And as far as the under is concerned, Giants 7 out of their last 8 games have gone under that total. I know Cleveland just played in like a 200-point game last night. I don't see it going the same way against the Giants on the road in prime time. I am down with the under, and that'll be a lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Twice. Conditionally.
All right, that takes us to our final Week 15 matchup, which is the Monday Night Football matchup, which will be the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Steelers laying 12, and you're over-under at 40.5.
I can honestly say I feel pretty comfortable laying the 12 with the Steelers here. I know there's all that data with Steelers laying double-digit points. When it comes to divisional games against opponents, obviously those are opponents they're very familiar with. They normally cover that big number. So we're facing the Bengals without a quarterback, whether it's Lindley or Brandon Allen or some dude down the street. It doesn't matter. They ain't going to be able to move the ball. And I'm very confident the Steelers will score enough on offense. And the defense will do its job. We can cover the 12. So give me the Steelers laying 12. Easy money.
Yeah, I know the Steelers haven't looked great the last 2 weeks, but this is the Bengals, guys. They're terrible. It's just like playing the Jets. We're going to lay the 12. Steelers are going to cover it, and it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Gay Steelers.
All right, well, that does it for me, boys, here for Week 15. So perfect time for me to go ahead and pass this off to you, Booth, because I'm dubbing this week the Blizzard of Locks, baby. So why don't you give us that weather forecast?
Well, my friend, we have a potential for 18 locks this week. Obviously, another new podcast record. They are Chargers plus 3.5, Chargers and Raiders to go over 53, Bills minus 6.5, Panthers and Packers to go over 51, Bears and Vikings under 47, Colts minus 7, Ravens minus 13.5, Dolphins and Patriots under 41.5, 49ers minus 3, Seahawks minus 5.5, Bucks minus 5.5, Rams minus 16.5, Jets team total under 13.5, Cardinals and Eagles under 49.5, Chiefs minus 3, Browns and Giants under 45.5, Browns conditionally minus 3, and the Steelers minus 12. Nate, I believe you had a few parlays you wanted to share with the people today.
Oh, yeah, Boof. Of course. We always have some parlays for the people. And with 17 locks and potentially 18 conditionally, man, we definitely love a lot this week. So have a lot of material to work with. We're going to do a 3-tier parlay system for everybody this week. I'll try to rattle through all these and make it as not confusing as possible here. So, all right, here we go. We're going to start off with the Chargers buying points to plus 8.5. Bills money line, Packers money line, Bears Vikes under 51.5 buying some points. Colts money line, Ravens halftime full time. Miami New England under 46.5 buying some points. San Francisco plus 3.5 buying some points. Seattle money line, Tampa Bay money line. LA Rams halftime full time. Philly Arizona under 56.5 buying some points. Chiefs money line, Browns money line, and the Steelers halftime full time. That is a 15-leg parlay, which gives you plus 15,475 on the odds, which means a $100 bet would win you $15,475. And before we go any further here, I just want to make sure everybody knows, when you hear me say I'm buying points or moving lines and whatnot, most of the time I try to keep those odds in the mid 200s, meaning like minus 250, whatnot, because I mean, anyone can just add something in. It's like, minus 600. No, we try to get value and do stuff that makes sense. So just to give you guys a heads up on there as far as when we're moving lines around. So the next step of that is we're going to take that exact same parlay and we are going to subtract the Chargers. We're going to substitute the Miami New England under by a few more points up to 52.5. Same thing with Philly and Arizona. We're going to substitute that line and by a few more points up to 60.5 and take the under. And we are going to subtract the Brownies as well. So we're subtracting the Chargers and the Browns and adding more points to the Miami New England and Philly Arizona totals and taking the under. That makes it a 13-leg parlay for plus 49.77. And lastly, get out of jail free parlay. We're keeping it pretty simple. It's Bills money line, Packers money line, Bears Vikes buying points up to 57.5 and taking the under. Colts money line, Ravens halftime full time, Miami New England under 52.5, Seattle money line, LA Rams halftime full time, and Steelers halftime full time, which still is a 9-leg parlay for plus 1027. If it's a $100 bet, would win you $1,027. And I feel like this is going to be a week of weeks and a day of days and units of units for all. Let's get that money.
Thank you, Nate. I think that's a great tip you have as far as the payout odds that you're shooting for whenever you're putting a parlay together. because especially when you start to put in a bunch of legs like that, you know, it only takes one to screw you. And if you're putting something in that's a minus 600, or I mean, sometimes you see stuff at like minus 1,000, it doesn't really improve your payout all that much. And at the same time, it's an NFL game. I mean, and anybody can win on a given day. We all know that. So for me, it's more likely that they're gonna, you know, or not more likely, but there's more to lose, obviously, by them ruining your bet than, you know, gaining, you know, a couple $100 on a parlay that's already going to get you like 20 grand. You know what I mean? So
and I think a lot of people actually lose sight of that. They'll just pick a bunch of teams like, oh, all these guys are going to win, no problem. And meanwhile, you know, like there's only been times when I was a more inexperienced bettor years ago. I would lose a parlay by one or two legs because I had a team in there that was minus 800, and they're the one that caused me to lose the bet. And in reality, it didn't up my payout very much. So that's why when we're manipulating lines, like I generally try to stay under minus 300 and preferably in the mid 200s as far as when I'm adding stuff in. And if I'm putting anything in that's higher than that, I'm damn sure it's going to hit. And even then, it's still probably not higher than minus 500.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think that's a great tip, and thank you for sharing. Beyond that, I'm looking forward to this blizzard of units. Best of luck to everybody, and let's get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Cheers.